Okay, I think we are good to go. So great to see everyone as usual. Today we have a very special guest, Steven Celi, who will be sharing a lot of really amazing insights on how to create content and express yourself authentically. Normally we'll just do a Q&A, but today Steven's actually prepared some slides. So he'll be running us through a presentation that will include his personal story. And then we'll have the opportunity to just have more of a group discussion with some Q&A. So Steven, take
Amazing.
it away.
Thank you, guys. Should I share my screen, Max? The presentation? Does that work?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. What's going on, guys? Well, first of all, thank you. Absolutely nothing but gratitude for being here. Super cool. Excited to share a little bit about my journey and help you guys find ways that you can express yourself to have the most fun you can out of this life and make the most impact you can. So, a little bit of background of who I am and how I got here. I shall present this. So, quick story is that in 2011, I was 5'10", white dude living in Florida. And I decided, I was at the end of high school, I decided to try to dunk a basketball. For a lot of men out there, or boys, it's always a childhood dream. And I said to myself, I'm going to try to go for it. So for some reason, shortest out of all my friends, I had this dream, this vision, and this passion that just inspired me. And the thought of what if this is possible launched me into this journey. So this was my day one. I don't know if it's playing, but okay, decent. Couldn't really touch the rim, and this is flexibility. You don't need to see that. But that's where I was at. It was just something that was a dream for me. And I said, I'm going to go for it. And this turned into a very transformative journey. Fast forward close to 10 years. It didn't take me 10 years to dunk, but it took me a year. And then I kept going. It really unlocked stuff for me. So this is what happened after.
Wow.
And he's dead. Okay. So that so that was a very, I'll stop sharing my screen for just a second. So that was a very transformative journey for me, and it led to a lot of awareness. It led to my spiritual journey. It led to me finding what I love to do in this reality. And one big step that it helped me take was it helped me quit my 9 to 5 job. So in 2016, I got a job working corporate 9 to 5, and I knew it wasn't for me. And I was dunk training on the side. And I thought, what am I going to do to get out of this job? And I had no clue what to do. Now, through the dunk journey, I noticed all these limiting beliefs because every time, once I got the first dunk, I realized this was something that was not possible and I made it possible. What else am I making or am I limiting my vision of? And so then as I continued to progress in this dunking journey, every milestone was another notch in that self-belief of that I can really make anything happen. And so when I got the corporate job and I thought, how am I going to do this? How am I going to escape this? I knew it was just another journey going forward. And feel free to interrupt me with any questions at any time. And so going forward, I was like, what do I want to do? I'm in that journey of corporate. I don't like it at all. And I'm making videos documenting my training, and people are blowing up on YouTube. Instagram wasn't around yet, but people started vlogging. And I'm like, I like this. So I turned the camera on myself, and that's when the next chapter began. Started filming myself, creating a lot of content, growing my YouTube channel, and falling in love with it. And I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a vlogger. I'm going to be a YouTuber. I would love this. And as I continued that, it took me about 3 years. I grew a channel. I've posted now, since it's been like almost 10 years, I've posted over 1,000 videos. I was freelancing at the time on the side of my 9 to 5 job. I was doing a daily podcast at one point. I was I grew my channel to 50,000 followers on YouTube, 50,000 on TikTok when it came out. I have about 20,000 on Instagram. And through that time, I realized I have a lot of skills here. I like speaking, I like entertaining, and I think this could be my way out. So in 2019, after doing freelance for about 3 years, I quit my full-time job to do full-time content creation for people. So they used those skills. I was a full-time producer. I launched a lot of brands. I helped with creative strategy. Fast forward, that took me on another journey of who am I? I have no background in these skills. I taught it all myself. I didn't feel like I was the best at it, but I loved doing it. And I just found my way. And so that entrepreneurial roller coaster led me to working with more conscious people, more aligned people. So almost 2 years ago now, I was talking to a friend of mine about how I don't want to be working with people that I don't align with. I want more community, and that's what actually brought me to LA. So since then, it's been amazing. That's actually how I was launched into the community here in LA, was just helping people create content, and that's still what I do. So all the way up to today, I now have a digital marketing agency where I'm the creative director. We do content for brands and companies and help them scale and sell. So all my creative now is focused on helping content that converts. So now I have a lot of strategy that I've been working on that helps not only tell your story, but help it convert into sales and scale your business. But my expertise is really helping people tell their story. And my focus, especially something like today, is helping you guys understand what your focus is, your story, and helping you have that courageous step to go towards whatever is calling you. So that's what I'd like to dive in next. Any questions so far? How we doing? How we living?
Doing well. Excited to dive in.
All right, let's do it. So I like to start with people on their vibration foundation is what I
You want to
call it. So
reshare
what?
your screen or are
Oh,
we
it's
good?
not sharing? Sorry. Oops. Yes. I went to the presentation without sharing it. Gotcha. We good?
Perfect.
All right. So I call this the vibration foundation. It's where I start my clients. It's a lot of times where I start people that I'm just helping with their personal brands. And what I mean by that is it starts with energy. From the dunk training to creative to business, for me, everything comes down to the energy you're giving off. And we'll get into why that matters. But let's start with the vibration foundation. One thing to do for yourself is clarify your intention. Why are you doing this? How do you operate as a human? Why do you want to share your content? And get super clear, because so many people that I see that don't have this clear intention, they come against roadblocks. They're like, this is not perfect. This content's not this. I don't know where it's going. And they stop, so they don't create something. So the goal of today, if I can inspire one person, is to create one thing today, one piece of content. That would be huge, because that step is the hardest and the most transformative. Now, when you have this foundation, expression is a natural result. Again, bringing it back to dunking, when your body's feeling good, when you're healthy, when you're sleeping good, when you're doing all these things that create a very solid, healthy foundation, you want to go out and try things. You're ready to go express. It's the same thing with creativity and creating content. When you have this foundation that you're able to um, understand exactly where you're coming from, exactly where you want to go, then you're going to feel inspired to share. You're going to want to share your message. And lastly, alignment first. So whenever you go to express, whenever you go to share, how are you aligning yourself with that intention? I have there why you're doing it, why you're sharing it, because I remind myself of this often. A lot of times you want to create things, and the act of creation is bringing something that's brand new into reality. So it can be a lot for the mind to try to understand why you're doing it. So if you can help yourself align with your intention, it's going to help you be courageous to start creating content. All right. So, basics of how to capture. I'm going to flip to the next screen really quick. Lighting is huge. The reason why it's first is because the act of taking a photo or video is simply capturing light. That is all it is. And I always bring it back to the spirituality or the energy of things, is we are just expressions of light. So not only are we physically capturing light with this equipment, but we are just vibrating our own light. So if we have this vibration foundation, we have the right lighting, we're in the right lighting, that's how we're going to have the most magic. But a simple key right here, as you can see in this video. So if you look here, this is the same phone, same setup. I'm at my desk. I just got a different lighting and a different angle. and it looks like a completely different video. So I bring that up because a lot of people don't realize that they have so much power with what they have right now. So that's number one, right? Lighting. Writing is something that's helped me that I didn't do in the past when I started. That's something I wish I knew when I began. The power of writing whatever idea you have, a script you have, and putting it into words shapes your framework for what you're going to, oops, shapes the framework of what you're going to create. And it helps tremendously. If any of you do any journaling practice, I know the giraffes always are talking about gratitude journaling. Putting things onto paper is one of the simplest ways to put something into this reality. It's really powerful. And the last one is practice. A lot of times people don't think creativity is a skill. They think they want to make it perfect. They want to have the perfect script. They want to have the perfect set, the perfect equipment. But all of that stops you from practicing. To find your voice, you got to express your voice. And we're going to find more about that coming up. Okay. So now building an audience. This is something I love helping people with because I believe we all have a message we need to share. And if we have this audience that we can focus on, it's going to really direct uh, our energy and our expression to service. So how do you build an audience? Consistency is huge. And I wrote it there. People don't care because they don't care about your message as much as you do. So you have to be consistent about sharing. This is what I'm about. This is what I do. This is why I'm doing it because they're inundated with so much information, so many different videos, easy to scroll right by. So you're going to have to be consistent for them to even pick up on what you're doing. Next is sharing your journey. Everyone has their own unique journey. And in today's marketing, the only way to stand out and to be completely unique is your journey. No one's in your shoes with your perspective, with your goals and your ambitions. And it's one of the easiest ways to be authentic and unique. And when you share your journey, for me as an artist, that's how you're going to connect deeper with the audience. If you're able to share your journey where you're at now, it's courageous, it's vulnerable, and that's where people connect to you. They're going to be able to relate because you're going to go through the ups and downs and they're going to feel on the journey with you. So you don't want to wait to start creating till you make it to a certain point or till you get to a certain level of expertise. You want to start doing and sharing now so you bring those people along your journey. Next is listening to the feedback from your audience. Life is a dance where we're expressing ourselves. We have our own message, but if it's not resonating with a single person, we're not getting any reflections. We need to take a look at how we're sharing. So we're going to talk about how to not focus on people later in the presentation to make sure you're making the most authentic art you can. But at the same time, you need to dance with what's being reflected back to you so you can learn because everyone is simply a mirror of what you are. And lastly is be courageous. People love to be inspired by other people, love to see you trying new things, and you're going to be on your journey. So be courageous in sharing your journey. Be courageous in different things that you try and different things that you share. All right. Finding your flow. This is something I love helping people with and clients with when they start creating, especially people that haven't created at all. One thing I love to remind is just like anything else, your expression is in a natural rhythm. So I'm sure some of you wake up in the morning, love to have coffee or tea. Some people like to move first thing in the morning. Some people like to have a really slow morning and then move later. And creation is the same. So I encourage you to start to notice when do you feel inspired to share your message? Is it right after a workout? Is it right after a great conversation? Is it after listening to some music? Is it after silence? Whatever it is, if you can find that natural rhythm, that's when you flip the camera on and that's when you try to schedule your expression to be captured. A quote that I love is passion inspires passion. So I don't know if you've noticed, but when you listen to a great talk or you listen to a great or watch a great movie, you want to share that. At least I do. When you read a great book, have a great quote, you feel like sharing. So, one is go get inspired by things and then try to create from that inspired place. Because, like I started at the beginning of this presentation with, is everything is energy. That's your vibration, and that's going to trump everything. So, if you're able to tap in to the inspiration flow and go back to your vibration foundation, then when you share, people are going to feel that, and that's going to really radiate outwards. Now, find your highest vibration. For me, I feel the most eager to share when I'm excited. So I always like to use excitement as my go-to vibration. When I'm excited about something, it's led to amazing experiences in my life. It's always led me the right direction. And so that's my vibration. So I ask you, what is yours? Is it more intellectual? Sometimes I get super inspired by something really deep and I want to go deep into philosophy. But most of the time, the majority of the time, it's when I get excited. So ask yourself, what's your highest vibration that makes you feel the best, makes you feel most alive? Your highest art. So how do we keep your art at the highest? This is a little next level once you're creating and once you get into the dance of being an artist, because I believe every single person is an artist. I got this one from Rick Rubin from his book. Highly recommend if you want to open the channel of inspiration. And it's create for you first, audience last. So if you're able to create art that is for you, that's something that you want to see in the world, that's going to be the purest vibration. If a lot of times on social media, in our business, we're trying to create to sell something, we're trying to create to make an impact, or we're trying to create to share and for a goal, but now we're 1 degree away from the most pure art that we can do. So always try to keep in mind, I'm just making this for me. This is something that I would love to see in the world. Next one is about helping you keep that flow going, which is very important, which is good enough is good enough. So much of my art I can look back on and say, I didn't share this or I shared this. Sorry. So much of what I shared in the past could be improved upon, but I don't need it to be. And the fact that I got it done and moved on to the next one allowed me to keep that flow going and make better and better things going forward. If I let that stagnate, then I don't get the reps in, I don't get the practice, and I don't get the feedback. Next is energy speaks the loudest. So can you trust that what your art is doing, you trust in the vibration of your energy? Meaning when you're watching other people, some people are loud, some people are very quiet, some people use a lot of colors and graphics, some people are simple. But you need to find what inspires you, number one, but two, trust in your own authentic energy. So when you're feeling your inspiration, when you're feeling art that you love, trusting in that. So energy speaking the loudest is a trust in your energy is going to resonate the furthest and the deepest with your audience. Lastly is mastery. Creating art is a lifelong endeavor. There is no end goal, there is no finish line, and it's a constant evolution. So if you can understand that, it helps you let go from having an outcome of where your art goes, the impact it makes, and you could just live this life that's creating you as you create your impact. Boom. Anything so far? I know I'm going quick, but there's a lot going on.
Let's run through the final few slides and then we'll
Let's
open
do
it
it.
up.
So why now? Why am I so passionate about helping you create right now? I believe we all have a message. And if your art, your content can help one person, then you have a responsibility to share that art. Number two, it helps us tap into the highest versions of ourselves by sharing and creating and being vulnerable. We have to create and hold ourselves to this high standard to get this expression out of us. So it helps us become and step into our higher selves. Practice and data. If you're creating now, you're getting practice, you're learning how to use your voice, and you're getting feedback and data from your audience and from the creations you've made. Sometimes you make something, you're like, that didn't turn out the way I wanted. So you need to get better at it. Lastly, it's our purpose. I believe as a person on this earth, we are expressions of the universe. We're the universe experiencing itself. So if we can see our art and our creation is allowing this flow, we are living our purpose. And maybe it's not art specifically, but expressing yourself, using your voice, sharing your journey is our purpose. And so lastly, your very first step. Today, I would love for you to just take 10 ideas and write them down, no matter what they are. If they're ideas for videos, if they're ideas for ways to be creative, write down 10 ideas, just brain dump as fast as you can. Commit to one idea, commit to whatever is on that list. Just commit to one. That might be the hardest step you do, except for number three, which is go create it. So no matter how simple it is, no matter how short it is, get something created. Now, I want to stress right here when you go to create it, you don't have to share it. You don't have to show it to anyone. You don't have to see the light of day. You can get rid of it. That alleviates so much pressure from where this art and creation goes. So just create it for the act of creating. Now, lastly, sharing it is a huge bonus. Share it with a friend, share it with an audience, share it with the world if you'd like. But sharing it is the way to say, you know what? You'll feel that power of, I did this. It's not perfect, but I'm going for it. And you'll feel how transformative it is. So that is my wish for you guys today, is to take those first steps, create one thing in the world, and you will feel that power of living your highest vibration. That's all we got.
Here, let me come back. Okay, so first of all, you know, you're an amazing speaker and presenter. So you've been
Thank you.
practicing, and it shows. So thank you for that wonderful overview, and also just philosophically how you see things. I really resonate with and appreciate. So thanks.
Dope.
Um, I have a lot of questions, so I can jump in, but maybe some people who are on the call in the audience just want to share,
Share your voice.
came up for them. You can either share it in the chats, or if you want to, raise your hand. I think this is more of a, an open forum for discussion type call. So
Totally.
I'll give everyone a few moments to chime in if they'd like.
Hit me.
And while people are tabulating, Julie, you want to say something? Tori, you want to say something?
I'm
Thanks,
saying,
Bruce.
Go ahead.
so just very inspired by the dunking story, and I'm vouching right now that I'll be dunking within a year with
Let's go, dude.
with the inspiration you gave me.
That's incredible. I do want to touch on that real quick, because when I started, it was so much for me. It was just like I wanted to prove it to myself I could, and I didn't mention this, but through that YouTube channel, I've personally helped over 100 people dunk, and I've inspired thousands. I've gotten thousands of comments, and I've helped so many people dunk that it feels way bigger than me. And I did not mention that that led to my new endeavor, which is becoming a rapper, which is feels like another level. It's terrifying, and it feels like, who am I? But it's the same spark I had that started my dunk journey, and it's the same doubts that I had as a dunk journey on another level. So point is, when you go for these things that are for you, you can be certain that you're going to inspire others, which is an amazing benefit. Thank you for that.
Shervin, you had a question?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for the amazing presentation. And I've known you uh through the giraffe community,
Yeah.
but I had no clue.
Nice.
Um, so I guess my question is, how important is it to stay in your course and not like post all sort of videos? Because like, let me just give you an example. I'm an architect and I make many architectural animations, and I share that on YouTube, not just because I wanted to share it with other people, but like I wanted to have a link that I can show whenever I'm talking to somebody, or like, I use it as a storage. But then I was always interested in posting content, and I created another channel for that
Yeah.
content, and I didn't post because I was like, Ben, who am I? Am I
Yeah.
posting for this? Am I posting for that? I didn't want to just go around. So if you can answer that one, that would be very helpful.
Yeah. Really great question. With clients, I always come up with content pillars. So, especially for brands and companies, it's really powerful to have content pillars where it's like, you're going to post in these 3 or 4 pillars, and that way your audience gets to know you for those 4 things. Now, as an artist, you need to have an outlet to explore. I have a really great story I always bring up, which I think it's I want to say it's not Michelangelo. I forget who was the guy who looked at the moon, but think of like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo era, the one of those names. He was a painter in his spare time, and he actually, out of all these scientists, he wasn't even like the lead scientist. He noticed that there was mountains on the moon, because people were looking at them like, what is it? Craters, what are those? So there's different weird shadows. And he understood that they were mountains because in his personal practice, he used to draw landscapes and he understood how to draw shadows. So the analogy there is that his own personal art of just painting, which had nothing to do with exploring space, so to say, it helped him be the one to figure it out because he understood shadows. So I bring that up because two things. One, whatever you're building, a company, a brand, the more people know you, the more they're going to invest in your company. They're investing in you. Your company is an extension of you. Your business is an extension of you. So it's always good to show behind the scenes. And on the second note of that, you need that exploratory part of yourself to feel expressed, but also to keep learning and growing as the artist that you are. All that being said, there's a time and a place to post that on your social or on your feed or on your company. So you don't want to inundate people with all your different creative projects. They're not going to know what you are. But if you're doing, I love to just say the simple 80-20 rule. 80% is about your business and then 20% is a little personal. People are going to get to know you, but it's not going to take away from the focus of your channel when it comes to your business. Your business is about educating them what they are, entertaining them, and then you can build that relationship on the back end too. Does that answer your question a little bit?
It does answer, but it raised another question,
Yeah,
which is, so based on that, I need to decide what type of content I'm putting out there, and then add a little personal to it.
You said architecture?
Yes, I don't even know if I want to do that, and I don't
Okay,
even know if I want to create content. But now you're
sure.
talking about it, and I'm like, okay, let me just
Yeah.
get some information because I've always had this in the back of my mind, or maybe I should do it, you know?
So at that phase, I would tell you to just keep creating. Like, don't even worry about strategy at all. Because a lot that strategy I talked about is when a business already has a product they're selling or knows like what they want to provide for an audience. For you, just be in that exploratory joy phase and be like, this sounds fun. Like right now, I'm learning a lot of cooking on my spare time. I'm learning about latte art for coffee. There's no reason for it, but it's leading to a lot of different, it keeps that creative flow going. I don't really post about that too much, or I'm not going to share that too much, but it really helps me keep creating. So I would say in the phase you're in, just follow whatever lights you up and let those dots be connected. Steve Jobs has that great quote of, you can only connect the dots looking backwards. So that goes back to that scientist, artist. Now he can look back and be like, oh, I looked at the moon because I had the painting. But at the time, he's like, I'm researching the moon. I'm painting over here. So you're in that phase of just make the dots. Just have fun creating.
That's a very good point. Thank you.
Nice. Of course.
Appreciate it.
Cool.
Other questions? Other people? I'll jump in the meantime.
Let's do it.
I'd love your take on kind of like the current landscape, you know, because you can create content and be authentic and have an intention, but you know, your reach on any given platform, you know,
Yeah.
starting out from scratch is effectively zero, and it's very hard to, you know, kind of break through the noise because these platforms have been running for, you know, a decade in some cases, and a lot of people have established reach, but you know, these platforms in many ways have evolved into pay to play. So you kind of need to like advertise your content to reach your audience. And is there even really, you know, a way to break out if you're just starting
Yeah.
from scratch? And, you know, does that, yeah, let's just start with that kind of the
Yeah.
landscape.
Great question. It's very difficult to break out right now. And that's why I brought up the authenticity piece and sharing your journey, because I think that's the only way you're going to be able to make the most unique content you can. And I say that because when you see something break through the noise, next time you see something break through the noise, notice it's brand new, it's different. It's not someone that took all the things that have been working and like combined them. They did something new. So the only way to do something new, in my opinion, right now, it's getting so complex, is to share your journey. Even with that being said, it's still very hard to break through the noise. But when you do break through the noise, you're going to want it to be authentic anyway. So that's why I have that foundation of things you can't really lose on, which is being yourself, being authentic. And I choose to trust that too. I haven't broken through the noise too much, but there have been times where it's worked really well for me. Like we've had clients that I've had get 150,000 organic views a couple weeks ago from a very authentic video, no strategy. It was just one that really resonated with people. The second part to this is you don't need 1 million followers. You don't even need 10,000. There's a lot of studies and different marketing experts that talk about 1,000 fans. So if you had 1,000 fans, if you had a product that sold for $10 and you had 1,000 people buying it every month, that's $10,000. So if you really think how many people you'd want, for me, to be fully transparent, I want 1,000 super fans for my rap this year. That's one of my goals. So I am sharing my journey as a rapper. I'm sharing my music. I'm asking people what they want to hear. And so I want 1,000 super fans because one, that would be awesome. If I had a show with 1,000 people that love what I do, that'd be insane. So I think that perspective is really helpful because we see people with 10,000, millions, 500,000, and we think that's where we want to go. But if you have 1,000 loyal super fans and 1,000 people, you're sharing a message that ripples out. So I had this in the presentation. I don't know if I spoke on it directly, but when you're talking, if you're lucky enough to have one fan that likes what you do, me, I love to be an entertainer, entertain that one person because that's all you want to do. That's how you're going to make very pure art. And that's how you're going to stay focused. If you're trying to reach new people, you're going to be like sharing from a place of, hey, listen to this. But if you have one person looking at you and you're entertaining, I'm sure we all have a friend that we sit across from and make them laugh like crazy. We're not trying to make other people laugh, but making that one friend laugh, the group is laughing. So
Right.
one person at a time.
Well, you have at least a few people who could become super fans on this call. Do you want to wrap something before we go into the next question?
I could add a few bars. I don't know if I'll rap it. I'll do like more spoken word because it's hard
Sounds
with the
good.
beat. Let's think which one. Yeah, I'll do this one. So I wrote this in corporate when I didn't even know what I was doing. And it goes, I was up on Amazon. I bought a telescope. No lie, you could check my shopping cart. I'm feeling kind of nebular. The stars and us are so similar. We shine bright but never reach the limelight. We hardly get noticed. Our life gets lost in the motion. The only goal is promotion, but that's not where I'm focused. So I write lines to unwind, let loose, and produce the same music I was using to dilute these confusing movements. I'm looking clueless. That's the reason that I do this. And I'm looking at my life like, did I choose this? In the mirror, like, who's this? When did I agree to walk this path? People act like they need a life map. They still think the world's flat. Look around. Don't be bound. Your potential's untapped. Take off your dunce cap. F the atlas. Don't duck the challenge. Believe in your dreams. March madness. And I'll stop it there.
Wow, let's go. Super fans.
Well, thank
Convert.
you. One more thing about that, that's the reason it's so meaningful to me is because when I wrote that, I was writing from a place that I felt lost. Like I'm in corporate, I don't know what to do, and just letting the art guide me. I just was listening to music. I'm like, this is what I wish people knew. This is what I wish I lived like. This is who I really, it helped me. I wrote from this place of who I wanted to be. So now looking back, it helped me heal. It helped me learn about my journey. And now looking back, it like came true. So that's why I keep following that as well. And that's why I'm so big on helping people create because like Shervin was saying, I told him to just be in that joy. When he does that, he might not know what he's creating, and that opens up a ton of doors. So thank you for that. High vibration rap. That's right. Atelia.
Tori, did you want to ask a question or?
Just vibing.
Totally vibing. Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like getting into that place within your soul and just letting the spirit talk through you, just like these subconscious things that you might be thinking about. So I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
I grew up playing basketball. I was 5'8". I was a power forward. And I loved Tennessee with Coach Pat Summitt. And I went to a Tennessee. I think Candace Parker was on the Vols, and like she was like the first female to dunk or something like that. I don't know if she was She was like totally my inspiration. And I was like a young girl and I was like, I'm going to dunk. I'm totally going to do that. It never happened. But it was so cool to see your journey of just the
Wow.
dedication and the consistency and, you know, when you put your mind to something. So I'm really inspired by that. And also, you know, I'm kind of on a journey of getting rid of the fear, the vulnerability to be seen as well. I have a few podcasts and it's taken me forever to launch them just because
Yeah.
I'm like, God, I don't want to be seen. And oh God, like there's like this paradigm of who I'm supposed to be and show up in this world, but this is who I really want to be. And how do I navigate the two and like get rid of the fear and not be
Yes.
afraid? So, but that wasn't really my question. My question was, one thing that's helped me was honestly, I found a tool to help edit my videos so it doesn't take
Cool.
me so I was wondering if you have any tools, especially in the light of AI, you know,
Yeah.
and what are you using most these days?
Very good question. Two things for that. I want to talk about the limiting belief or feeling of like not launching it, and then I want to talk about the tools. First, I have a course, a creator course. I call it Create Now. It's a video course that people can buy. I actually think my site went down, but I can get it to people if they want a giraffe discount. We could figure something out. So that's one thing. It talks about all the tools. It talks about lighting. It talks about cameras. It talks about strategies, all of that. So that's one tool I'd recommend. But right now, I'm actually using a lot of CapCut. It's a free editing software. It's fantastic. It does captions. The captions are in the pro version, but the pro version is only $8. It's very $8 a month. It's very affordable. That one's fantastic. There's a lot of AI. One of them's called like Opus Video, OPUS. But if you just type in AI video editor from script, something like that. If you need it, I can always follow up with Max and send links out. But there's videos that like just take your video and condense it down to short clips, which is really great. So those are some tools I'm playing with. I use a lot of Chat GPT for script writing because I'll be like, I have an idea for, especially with products and brands, it's very framed. It's not like a free flow. We want it to be like, this is what you're struggling with, this is the solution, and this is the offer at the end. So we want to like write a script for that, and then you could like add that. But CapCut is amazing. It has really great effects. It's very simple to use. I'd highly recommend CapCut. So in my journey, I've used a lot of tools and a lot of professional editing softwares, and CapCut feels like one of those ones that over the years it's taken the professional grade abilities and also simplicity of like cheaper products and like made a baby where it's like has a little bit of both, but it's still simple to use. And it's like how technology keeps getting better. It's so efficient and cheap to do such amazing edits. So I'm using a lot of CapCut as a great tool. I'm going to touch on the not launching. One thing I love to remind people is I'm wearing the shirt, Be the Energy. What I mean by that is when you launch it, and you get the first episode, no matter how bad you feel, no matter if you hate it, the second you post it out, you're like, I can do better. This is the worst. You got to say that you were the person that did it. So that goes back to clarifying the intention. And I'm so big on courage because if you're saying, I have the courage to post this, I'm being the best I can be right now. I know this is the best for me to launch it and then move on to the next. I've never regretted something I've put out. I've been like, man, maybe I went a little too fast or a little too slow. But things I haven't put out, I definitely regret more than the things I haven't put out. But point is, no matter what you're doing, when you share something vulnerable, no matter how cringy it is, I love when I get cringe comments because that means I'm pushing the limits. You get to say I was courageous. So that's where I feel like you can't lose. Right in the moment, the second you're launched, you're being courageous. So you'll never regret being courageous.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Nice.
You're
Launch
welcome.
Oh, Siri.
Cool.
You know, won't we come to a point pretty soon where we can, record ourselves as an avatar, and then
Yeah.
AI just generates content with our body and face, and we won't have to take any more risk effectively. It'll just simulate how we would look on camera, except, we can test it with 1,000 different scripts and
Yeah.
smiles and just how do you kind of see the evolution of content playing out over the next few years?
It's gonna get strange. I don't really know. I don't know if there will be like a feeling we'll be able to have that it's not real, like just somehow. Um I really don't know how that's going to play. I think it's going to get so good it's going to be indistinguishable. I don't know if I will use it that much for my own art because I want it to come from me, unless it's so good that it's good enough where it feels authentic, where it's helping people, and I could help even more people. So that goes back to my just view of the entire existence, where I just hope that these things and believe that they're for good and they're going to just help even more. When it comes to like me rapping and different things, I worry where it's like, that's not even me, or people can say things that you said that weren't. I just believe in the good that people that good will always rise. But when it comes to art, what's cool is I think it may come back to more in-person things. So people will be like, I don't even know if this is real. I want to be in person with this person, or I want to be in person with this group. And so I can see it leading to that as well.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I think we could be in a simulation already. So it's like those things are getting so good. It's just like, what's next? I have no idea.
Yeah, simulation theory. We were
Yeah.
talking about it this week. Yeah, there's kind of like this tension of everyone's trying to get their message out there, everyone's trying to create content and, you know, their art and spread it through social media. Um, when in fact, you know, the more time we're spending online, biologically, it's actually hurting us, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting, you know, trying to get positive message out there through platforms that are sucking our souls out of our bodies basically, you know. And it's
Yeah.
like there's so
Yes.
much like the social media is such a incredible invention, you know, to be able to disseminate the
Yeah.
message, you know, in a to a billion people instantly, right? Like it's such a powerful tool. But I think, you know, the way it's been built, you know, and how it's from a business perspective, how it operates, it's not really built for our well-being. You know, it's really built to
Hmm.
capture our attention as much as possible and keep it there and then sell ads against our attention. So
Totally.
I don't know, I'm just pontificating, but we want to get positive messages out there to the masses. Um, so we have to use, you know, the tools that exist, but these platforms are clearly like hurting us as a collective and
Totally.
makes us more divided. What are your thoughts?
Great question. Um, so I've had to learn to get off my phone and not use it as much. And that's what's fun about making music, is that it feels like I use music when I'm at the gym or on a run or even just in my house, that it's changed my life so much. So I'm not on a phone. So that's where it's like my music, I hope, can do the same, where it helps you tap into your life and helps you be more present in life. So I actually purposely don't post as much as I used to on like my stories, because I don't want people just like on their phone all day. And I post because that's my skill, is creating content and creating videos, that I hope it's healing you. So, and the reason I believe in that is because it's helped me. Like I've watched on my phone tons of different teachers from and books and different things that I can use my phone as a tool, and I've gotten really good at that. And also when it's a camera, it's like when I'm at the gym, it helps me work out better. When I'm performing on my phone, I'm performing differently than if no one's watching. So I've used my phone as a tool and healing, that I'm trying to contribute in that way. I love what you said about it's not really promoting well-being. I'm hoping that people can start following the right things, and people that make art help people tap into it, so their phone and their media starts to help them do that. So that's where I try to contribute, and that's where I'm trying to be the energy as well. As everything I post has intention. I don't want to get attention. I don't want to like drive attention so you're on your phone. I hope to drive attention so it helps you tap into your highest of whatever that is, and then my art helps you do that. So that's where I'm at. It's a tough
Beautiful.
one.
Um, you know, if there's any other questions, feel free to raise your hand or drop them in the chats. You know, my kind of final reflection in this age of AI that, you know, is disrupting everything, is that a lot of the people using AI today are creating art and creating content that I think when we looked at AI a few years ago and said, what's going to happen? You know, like what are the initial applications of this technology? I don't think we saw it,
Yeah.
you know, just helping people become more expressive and more creative. So there is something
Right.
spiritually positive here, you know, even just the number of giraffe images I've created, probably top, you know, in the world in terms of giraffe art. I don't know anyone else creating giraffe art and every day using AI, but like that's just a huge unlock for me as you know, as a way to self-express, just being able to create images
Huge.
and now video and even just like essays. You know, yesterday I wrote 2 essays using ChatGPT on
Yeah.
topics that, you know, the reasoning and the logic are just very strong when you ask them to write a persuasive essay. And so now just all these different ways that, you know, I would have struggled to create in the past or not have the skills to create in the past. Now with a few keystrokes, I have this amazing essay or amazing photos.
Yeah.
So I do want to give some credit to AI as it's, you know, unlocking, I think, the creativity in a lot of people. It'll just be interesting in the marketplace of, you know, open content, kind of who ends up getting the most attention as AI and humans start to merge. So that's you know, just
Yeah.
a food for thought.
I think to add on to that, my thoughts about where AI and computers are going, I can see them helping us do all the things like that we don't need to do, and we can just go literally be in nature and be artists and express ourselves. And the second part of that is I want to make sure people know that I want you to express yourself or encourage you to express, and content is just a way that's very prevalent and something that I've built as a skill, but explore all your ways you want to express yourself. So expression is just, even just using your voice is super powerful. So just find your way to express, and I'm hoping my view of computer and AI help us just express and live this life more fun.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, everybody.
That's
Have
it. Thank you so much, G's.
you
Keep it
got it.
grateful, baby.
We
Thank
will.
you.
Uh, see
Bye.
you. See you all soon.
Thank you,
Thank you so
guys.
much.
Later, later.